Okay, so when we get into the device provisioning settings, here we just specify some very important parameters. First of all, the web login page. If you want to change the look and feel of the web login page, you specify it here. Okay, so there are a lot of parameters here. Over here, one of the most important points that you have to consider is go to onboard client. See, it's already mentioning the host address DNS is either invalid or cannot be resolved. So if this host name cannot be resolved, right? Typically in POC environments, this will not be resolvable. So make sure you select the management port IP over here. This is a very important setting. Most of you will miss this. This is important because it will not work if this is not a management port IP. In implementation, at least your host name will be resolved by the DNS. And even if it's resolvable, there's no harm in actually going and changing this setting. Okay, so make sure you do this. And one last point is you can even add the sponsor based approval kind of a thing over here as well. So you can, if I say require sponsorship approval, the same thing will be valid for onboarding users as well. This is something that our competition cannot do. Okay, so you can leverage this point if required. So once I click on save, my settings are ready to go. Now there will be a few challenges, especially in the POC environment. As you can see over here, Clearpass HTTPS root server is not trusted by Apple. So onboarding will fail on iOS devices. This is because Apple is little sensitive towards their certificate requirements. So what you do is, for especially for onboarding, right? Unless, the option is the actual implementation scenario. What should happen is customer should get their HTTPS cert signed by a public CA. Okay, if they do not do that, then what you have to do is in the captive portal profile you specify the page as HTTP, not HTTPS. And the other thing that you will have to do is go to configuration, authentication. Here you will have to remove this require HTTPS for guest access. So these are the two settings that you have to remember, because otherwise it will not work. Once this setting is done, there is one more complicated piece, which is you have to get a certificate, Clearpass certificate signed by its root CA. So for example, if I go to onboard, I go to view by certificate. First of all, I have to generate a CSR here. I go to policy manager, I go to server configuration. I go to server certificate. Here I will generate a CSR, create certificate signing request. In this you specify few details, and then you specify private key password. Make sure you remember this. You will require this when you're trying to upload this certificate. Then you submit it, download CSR and private key files. So now what you do is you get this CSR signed by onboard CA. Onboard is a certificate authority. Okay, so you can get this CSR signed by onboard certificate authority. So what you will do is over here there is no certificate authority. Okay, yeah. So I click on, this is the guest piece of it. The onboarding certificate authority is present in the guest section of things. So I click on upload a certificate signing request. That's what I clicked. 1 second. Huh? Sorry. Yeah. So you go here. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see that. So you go here. You go to downloads. You select the certificate signing request that was generated. Once it shows up, I think I have lot in downloads. That's why it's taking a long time. Uh, okay. So you click on choose file and you upload your CSR that was downloaded previously. So I'll just upload my CSR and I'll say issue this certificate immediately. So this is the certificate that has been issued for you. So you will export this certificate and then you will go to policy manager and as your radius server certificate, you will import your server certificate here. Oh, again downloads. Oh, okay. Then you select the private key file that was downloaded while you were trying to actually generate the CSR. And finally, the password that you had used to generate the CSR. And click on import. So as you can see over here, the server name is the CN. And now we have a valid certificate chain as your radius server cert. So once the root cert is imported, this will work. So you need the steps because the root cert that we have right now is a Clearpass Onboard root CA. So in order for when Clearpass presents its certificate for this to work, you need to follow this step. Okay. So this is the only configuration that is required. After that, this should work. Basically, the way it will work is, as I'll explain the flow again. User connects with ePeep with some credentials. It could either be AD credentials or a local user credentials. Once it connects, we will redirect them to onboard pre-provisioning role. We'll send the onboard pre-provisioning role in the first .1x authentication. In the pre-provisioning role, we redirect them to a web page, which is nothing but a provisioning setting page. If you want to see which page is that, like how you can get the URL for that, just go to provisioning setting and click on test. This is the device. This is the page that you need to put on your captive portal profile. Here you will again try to authenticate. Whatever username and password that you put in over here will be authenticated against two services. One is the pre-auth service and the other one is the authorization service. Okay, so make sure you select the correct authentication source in that. Okay, in this service you have to select authentication source so that it will match, I mean it will authenticate against that. I mean that user will be present in that authentication source. After that, a certificate along with the wireless profile is pushed and you will perform EPLS and you will get the post onboard role. That's it.